Hello, my name is Drake. I am a sales rep with Sherwin-Williams in Jacksonville, Florida. And today I did a video going over a garage floor using a Polyurea PolyAspartic system with a company that is going to start doing residential garage floors. My contractor's name here is Luis. This is his personal home, and this is the first time anybody in this video has ever seen a floor coating besides me. This is Luis's personal home. This is a good time for them to try this product, get their hands on it, see what it feels like, and really, more than anything, show them what can go wrong, what errors can happen, what happens when you mix incorrectly or leave something in the bucket too long. And this video may feel a bit chaotic at first. But just be aware, again, this is the first time any of these guys have ever done anything like this. So really, I just had them passing the roller around, passing the brushes around, really getting to feel the product, given that this is Luis's personal home. If something was going to go wrong, then this is the contractor's house and the time to learn. So what we did here is I actually just mixed a little bit, and we were going to do the cove base, or kind of that concrete baseboard edge that you see there, if you will, and then the little platform that Manuel is sitting on. So what I did is actually cut out of the bucket. I set a timer on my phone because I wanted to show them how fast this product kicks, also known as cures, or starts to cure, inside of a bucket. So when you mix these products, it is a chemical reaction. You have an A component and a B component. When mixed together, they create a chemical reaction that allows it to cure and bond with the concrete. So it doesn't dry necessarily like your house paint on a wall that dries kind of through air. This is actually a more curing process and a chemical reaction that bonds with concrete. So I wanted to show them that if you don't get it out of the bucket, you know, hey, this bucket will get hot, the product will kick a lot faster. With this certain product, with a Polyurea, the PolyAspartics, they can work a little bit better inside of a bucket. But so actually this product kicked in about 9 minutes. It was almost unusable is what we saw. Granted, I did mix it with a drill for about 2.5–3 minutes. And you'll notice towards the end of this time lapse that we only did about maybe 65% of the edge. And that was because I just told him not to worry about using this product as it had already kind of kicked and started to cure, and it was going to be a bit too tacky and messy and didn't have the flow that I wanted to see. So not a big deal. We were doing that for the error and learning purpose, and then we were going to do the rest just out of puddles once I poured my ribbons with the larger batch that we were going to use for the floor. So here you see me and Manuel talking. The larger bucket is your A component, and then there's a smaller gallon that is your B component. This particular product is 2 parts A to 1 part B. So what we did is made almost, I believe this is maybe half of a gallon what we made here, maybe a little more. I don't remember exactly what we made, but I showed him the ratios. We mixed it, and then we started using it, and again, we just used it straight out of the bucket. I just let him kind of mess with a brush. Luis was kind of pitching some flake at the cove base. Again, I know this may seem chaotic, and like we don't know what we're doing, but in all honesty, you know, again, this is the first time these guys have ever done anything like this. So here we're using basically a joint filler, actually a crack filler. I'm sorry, it wasn't necessarily a joint filler, but more intended uses for the smaller hairline cracks. It sets up in about 10 minutes, so we did put it on a little bit heavy, and again, you know, we had some errors with it. It kind of showed them, you know, what happens when you mix it or let it sit in a bottle and it cures super fast. You know, get it out on the floor, you get some workability, and then we added sand to some of it, and we left some of it, and we just put it on good and heavy and really let them mess with it. So we brought the larger grinder out again to grind it. We didn't want to hand wheel it just because I think it would have taken an excessive amount of time. So we went ahead and just got the grinder because that was going to be much faster for us and gives them a little bit more time with the grinder. This is a Lavina 20 GEB. This is a propane hooked up to a Dymapro SV3A vacuum, which is the 3-motor automatic cleaning vacuum. And then we used, I believe these are yellow single seg metals on the bottom that is grinding your concrete underneath this machine. So they bought this machine for me, and we did a demo the previous day on showing them how to use the machine on the floor you're looking at. We ground that whole floor. They did end up using, I believe, red tooling, which is for harder concrete, and the machine did great. I think we got this floor completely ground in about 45 minutes. And then we went back today and kind of hit some spots with a hand wheel. So you'll see Manuel using the machine. We kind of rocked it back and forth. You don't really want it sitting and creating a divot in one spot, so I was really trying to get him to kind of move it side to side and get that higher profile from the joint filler down level with the floor without kind of eating into one spot too much. And then he's just vacuuming up some dust here that we created throughout the joint. And I think we get the grinder out of here. And on to the next thing. And here we're just kind of using the hand wheel to grind a little bit of heavy spots that maybe that polyurea had dripped off the edge, or when we tossed the flake, we had some flake buildup. And again, that was probably the roughest area of the floor, is this base and that little section there, because the product was setting up so fast, and something I kind of wanted to show them. So there was a little bit more prep needed to be done there. And then we just had a little blower, blew it out, and then we did a light solvent wipe on it. When Luis hands me a pad, you'll actually see it. He said, hey, be careful, this isn't on very well, and then instantly kind of breaks. But they got a good kick out of it. So. But yeah, this is just a clip we did. I did kind of lightly solvent wipe the entire floor, and then we put an air scrubber in there because the odor was kind of strong, and we just wanted to get some flow going through the room. That is a air scrubber, and you can see Luis's son Sebastian there peeking through the cat door. And then this is where we kind of mix the product. You don't see me mix it, but this is again 2-to-1. We made enough for about 270 square foot. I think we made 2 gallons and roughly 160 square foot a gallon, so we probably made enough for about 300 square foot. And this garage, I believe, was about 275. So I've got an 1/8 inch trowel squeegee there, and that allows me to put it on probably somewhere close to 8 to 10 mils. Manuel, is kind of ready to get after it, ready to roll. I had kind of told them, hey, we need to move pretty quick with this so that you can see the setup time, and so he was kind of ready to roll. I just told him to get after it, use a puddle. So you're gonna see this is kind of where it may look a bit chaotic, but really it's just everyone trying to get their hands in the product. I wanted them to be able to see how it felt, and then I was kind of just pulling the product a little bit everywhere. We only had 2 sets of spiked shoes, so it was a little awkward when I went to pour the ribbons. And then the scene on the left that you can't see, we're still trying to finish up that edging over there, the cove base. So he's working that with a brush, and Manuel in the gold shirt didn't have spiked shoes, so he's kind of just trying to use some of the excess product and get it spread and feel the product on how it feels with the roller covered. Luckily enough, this product's going to be forgiving enough because it's covered completely in flake that aesthetically, we don't really have to worry too much about laying it off. Our concentration is really on making sure that the product is spread evenly, getting rid of heavy spots, working it into the concrete nice and thoroughly, and then I'm just kind of squeegeeing out to make sure that the flow of the product is consistent. You can't really tell in the video, but the floor is significantly pitched down. We do live in Florida, so the grades sometimes are a little bit increased from what you see maybe in other parts of the country, but this garage was pretty severely pitched from where that doorway is to the end of the garage. And they're just kind of passing the roller so they can all kind of see how it feels, and laying it off and spreading the material from the heavy spots. So we did have a little bit of excess product, but really not too much. I mean, we probably put it on at maybe 140 square foot a gallon or so, which you can't see out of the frame. There's still more concrete out of the frame, so I'm kind of pulling that excess, and we still had about maybe 1.5 feet or 2 foot until the end of the garage. So here maybe we're 8 to 10 minutes in, and I kind of just wanted to make sure that we could just finish the product and make sure the product was all spread out before we got a little too sticky on us. We did have plenty of working time, but it was pretty high humid day. Humidity was kind of coming in on us. We had planned to start early in the morning, but there was a little bit more prep that we needed to do. And with these products, you really need to be aware of the climate. Heat and humidity are kind of your enemies when working with these things. A lot of times these products don't act or react like paint. They are chemically cured. They're two-part components. They're not paint, which is a common misconception. These are industrial grade products that are chemically cured, so they react much differently to humidity and heat, and you really need to make sure that your climate is hopefully controlled, but when it's not, you have to adapt to your climate. So with a lot of humidity coming in, we just had to work a little bit faster, and then we actually got rained out on the clear coat, so that'll be a separate video. We were trying to do it in one day, and this is a one-day system. This product can be scraped after about 2 hours. So you'll see the flake come in here shortly. That flake is 100% broadcast, or what we call broadcast into rejection. You just broadcast the flake until the floor will no longer take it, and it starts sitting on top of itself. So yeah, we got rained out, and then again, back to putting on a clear and 100% humidity, just you can run into some issues, whether it's hazing or bubbling or something like that. It's just better be safe than sorry when doing projects like this. Again, so you'll see here, so the flake's going to cover up pretty much any imperfection we would have had where we started and stopped the roller. If it was a solid color floor, we would have laid it off a little bit more. What laying off is you kind of start at basically one point of the floor and pull the roller down to the end of the floor, all in one kind of fell swoop, if you will, and make sure that it's all uniform. With this floor, with the flake covering up, we really just want to make sure that we're spreading the product out from its heavy parts. So kind of just flaking the base over there, and then making sure that we try to cover any spot that may look a little bit dry. Again, we're doing 100% broadcast, so at this point it was getting pretty sticky in that garage. As far as humidity goes, I think we're starting to feel about like a sauna. You kind of just flick the flake out of the bucket. You don't need to necessarily feed it onto the floor or force it onto the floor. You kind of just get some air under it and let the gravity do the work. I think Luis goes back in and he's trying to touch up maybe behind the water heater a little bit. We were discussing doing the baseboard back there because we did get a little bit on it earlier. However, I think they were just going to sand it off and then kind of paint that baseboard white. The drywall's unfinished, so the room still has to be done. But the baseboard back there, it may look kind of humpy and messy, but that's just excess flake from us pitching it against the wall where the flake built up. So once we kind of pull all that off, it'll flatten out and look a little cleaner. Obviously, this is a garage, and there was stuff stored back there that maybe caused it to be a bit dirty. So, but I think that pretty much sums up this video. And again, this is a Polyurea, PolyAspartic one-day garage floor system. What I will say is these garages are becoming more and more popular, and I know that there is a lot of salesmanship and marketing going behind these products, and just from someone inside the industry, you know, you'll hear a lot about epoxy, polyurea, polyaspartic, and the benefits and whatnot of each one. I think most of it is in the prep work. I think all are good options, whether it be polyurea, polyaspartic, or epoxy. They all have very, very good adhesion. Any two-part product really is going to give you adhesion to failure, where we find the concrete is failing before the coating, as long as the prep is done correctly. So the sales pitch behind these floors is really that they're one-day systems, and they are a little bit more flexible than epoxy. They're chemically resistant, and they are a coating that's probably going to last you a very long time. So much different than what you find at your big box stores as far as, you know, do-it-yourself or epoxy products. These are an industrial grade product that are intended to last an extremely long time. So I'll put up a second video of the clear coat whenever we get to it. Again, we got rained out on it, so we'll come back and do the scraping and the second video for the clear. Thank you.